Palmetto State Armory congratulates Brandon Brown on his first NASCAR win. Okay, welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. This video is brought to you today by P.A.N. Firearms LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or visit our website at panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there will be a link in the description box below. But let's talk about this. Unless you've been in a coma or just came out of a coma like yesterday, there's been a phrase going around of "Let's go Brandon," which is a polite way of saying F Joe Biden. And Palmetto State Armory has upped the ante by releasing its "Let's Go Brandon" AR-15 low receiver. Now, on the side of the magazine well is an image of Biden with a NASCAR finishing flag, but more interesting are the safety lever positions, the markings for them. Safe is marked with the F word, semi with Joe, and full auto position with Biden. This has so triggered, no pun intended, the left that a correspondent from NBC News claimed that the sale of the lower was a direct threat to the president and contacted the Secret Service.
And speaking of democracy, there's an anti-President Biden chant that is code for a four-letter word, and it's gaining traction in right-wing circles. NBC's national security correspondent Ken Delaney joins us now from Washington. Ken, I know you have new reporting on this and specifically how this chant affects guns and gun rights. I have to ask, what is this? What is all this about?
Good question, Morgan. So this originated at a NASCAR race about a month ago when an NBC reporter was interviewing the winning driver named Brandon Brown. And behind them, a crowd was chanting expletive Joe Biden. And the reporter, either because she didn't hear what was being said or was trying to sort of gloss it over, said, "Oh, they're saying, 'Let's go Brandon.'" And people on the right immediately seized on that, accusing her of a cover-up or just deciding that that is a great stand-in for using profanity against the president of the United States. So "Let's go Brandon" is now a right-wing code, a right-wing meme. And yesterday we discovered that it is being used to sell assault weapons and ammunition. Whoa. There's actually a "Let's go Brandon." It's basically the guts of an assault rifle being sold by a South Carolina armorer. And then I searched across the internet and I found several ammunition magazines emblazoned with that moniker. And this is part of a phenomenon, in part and parcel of what we just heard from Cynthia McFadden. Our politics has become so angry and vitriolic. Yeah. And most people who engage in this, Morgan, think it's a joke and it's a way of, quote unquote, owning the libs. But my sources in the national security world worry about the small percentage of people who take this seriously, particularly when you marry guns and hatred against the president of the United States. It's a dangerous combination.
It's dangerous and it doesn't end well. Speaking of seriously, though, Ken, how seriously is the Secret Service taking this?
So, of course, I reached out to them because, there have been many incidents where potential threats to a president like this or even talk of violence around a president has been investigated by the Secret Service. They declined to comment. And actually, when I tweeted about reaching out to the Secret Service, that drew its own fury in right-wing circles. The idea that the Secret Service would even investigate this. People on the right are so convinced that it's their free speech right to use profanity to malign the president of the United States. That's how far we've come in this world. You know, there was a day when a member of Congress standing up in the middle of Barack Obama's State of the Union speech and shouting "You lie" was a national story. Right. And now blank Joe Biden is a meme on the right that's happening every day in this country.
Gosh, I wish we could just figure out a way once and for all, Ken, to just turn the heat down. Because when it comes to security threats, this has just all become too much, especially on the heels of January 6th. Ken Delaney for us there, live from Washington. Thanks for bringing this to us, Ken. Really interesting and important story.
The reporter who was at the race interviewing Brandon Brown knew exactly what was being said, and she was trying to downplay it. The statement of "our politics has become so angry and vitriolic" is an attempt to disingenuously be clueless. Because where was NBC News the day after the 2016 election when the results came out and Trump was elected? The left set the stage for this kind of behavior. The foray into worrying about the small percentage of people who will take this literally shows the truest definition of cognitive dissonance, as we witnessed a year of left-inspired violence, rage that spread across the country, with very little condemnation from the left, so-called mainstream media. Of course, the Secret Service had no comment. What can they actually do about it? And how, by any stretch, could they consider it a direct threat? But I think it is great, and I will leave a link for the Palmetto website where you can see this lower. The commentator makes the argument that it's okay to malign the president. Well, it's okay to malign the president of the United States, and that's how far we have come in this world. Once again, where were these people 4 years ago when everything that was transpired, specifically direct attacks and direct threats on then President Trump? This is why people have developed a distrust of the mainstream media. But let's read this here. And this is from NBC News, the headlines: gun dealer sells parts, ammo using anti-Biden meme, "Let's go Brandon." The phrase "Let's go Brandon" has become a right-wing code for profanity directed at the president. You know, despite the fact we heard the left use direct profanity against then President Trump. Once again, it's hypocrisy, but it arose from a crowd chant at a NASCAR racetrack in Talladega, Alabama. Gun dealers are marketing weapon parts and ammunition using a right-wing slogan widely understood as code for profanity directed at President Joe Biden. Palmetto State Armory, which operates a 12,000 square foot gun store in Columbia, South Carolina, the state capital, is marketing a Let's Go 15 stripped low receiver, which is a part meant for an AR-15 style assault rifle. The product description on the company's website says the fire selector on the weapon parts features 3 modes: F, safe, Joe, fire, Biden, full auto. Love how much PSA is in touch with the current Let's Go Brandon situation, says one of the comments below the product description. More than half of America and other parts of the world are chanting the current administration is destroying our country. The company did not respond to NBC News' request for comment. A spokesman for the U.S. Secret Service, which investigates threats against the president, declined to comment. At least two other firms in other states, Culper Precision and My Southern Tactical, are advertising an AR-15 magazine for sale with a Let's Go Brandon sticker. The companies did not immediately respond to requests for comments. The phrase "Let's Go Brandon" has become a right-wing code for F. Joe Biden. It originated from a moment during an October 2nd NASCAR race at Talladega Superspeedway in Alabama, when a driver named Brandon Brown was being interviewed by an NBC sports reporter. A nearby crowd was chanting something difficult to make out. It wasn't difficult to make out. We know what they were saying. And the reporter suggested they were chanting "Let's Go Brandon" to cheer the winning driver. But it became increasingly clear they were saying F. Joe Biden. A stripped low receiver is the part of the AR-15 rifle that contains the serial number, making it the only part of the weapon required to be purchased through a licensed dealer. Once banned under federal law, the AR-15 has become the most popular rifle in America, making up 1 in 5 firearms bought each year, according to the National Shooting Sports Foundation. There are 15 million in circulation, gun groups say. Law enforcement officials have said that variations of the AR-15 were used in mass shootings at a Boulder, Colorado supermarket, a Pittsburgh synagogue, Texas church, a Las Vegas concert, a Florida high school, and a Connecticut elementary school. Now, what they failed to point out here at the Texas church shooting was the fact that another citizen used the exact same weapon to stop the shooting. But we don't expect them to be honest. The Let's Go Brandon slogan has been employed by several Republican politicians. The Associated Press reported Republican Rep. Bill Posey of Florida shouted the phrase while ending an October 21st House floor speech with a fist pump. Representative Jeff Duncan of South Carolina wore a "Let's Go Brandon" face mask at the Capitol last week, while Texas Senators Ted Cruz posed with a "Let's Go Brandon" sign at the World Series. Senator Mitch McConnell's press secretary retweeted a photo of the phrase on a construction site in Virginia, the AP reported. And there's a little note: the Southwest Airlines announced Sunday it was investigating an incident in which a pilot reportedly uttered the phrase over the intercom. Now, Greg Foreman, who runs the very popular YouTube channel, Black Conservative Perspective, which I watch religiously, also spoke on this subject. And his rebuttal is so good that I mean, there's no greater answer to this.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Just when you think it couldn't get any more silly, right? That's the only phrase I can think of to describe it. It's just silly. Okay? The left-wing liberal media is now saying that gun manufacturers, right, or gun dealers or whatever, right, putting the phrase "let's go Brandon" on gun parts is somehow a threat to Joe Biden. Really, it's somehow a threat to the president of the United States because you put "let's go Brandon" or even F Joe Biden on gun parts, right? You just engrave it up there, right? And of course, Secret Service or the FBI or whoever he called, they didn't respond. Why? Because it's not a real threat. It's silly nonsense. I mean, I get it. It's almost like these people, they want to ban political speech because that's what this is an attempt to do. It's an attempt to ban political speech. Them talking about this in the way they're talking about it, comparing it to terrorist rhetoric, saying that putting it on guns is a threat of violence, then trying to compare it to January 6th. This is their attempt of trying to ban the phrase. That's what they're trying to do, right? Because they're annoyed by it, right? They're annoyed by the fact that it's actually a classier way of expressing a political opinion than F Trump, which they all endorsed last year. They were all cool with F Trump, right? They was cool with that. They was okay with it, right? But now the right has found a way to poke fun at this failing president while trying to keep it classy, and they're losing their minds, right? They're losing their minds. They're throwing a fit about it. And again, at this point, I can't do anything but just laugh because, again, this is the worst ass pull, right? Because that's what it is. It's an ass pull that I've seen in my life, right? It really is. It really is. But I want to remind you guys, for these same people that are complaining, that are implying that Republicans or conservatives are making threats of violence against Joe Biden, which is 100% untrue. Nobody's doing that. Let's just not forget the threats of violence that Democrats made all throughout the Trump presidency. Take a look.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick them.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, man. Boy. These Democrats and the liberal media, it's just so hilarious to me how they think they have room to lecture anybody on anything.
To quote Mr. Foreman, ding, ding, ding. The left ignored 4 years of insults and direct threats against the sitting president, and now they have issue with the so-called foul language against, that's directed at their guy. And no matter what when the talk is about the right, January 6th has to come up, even when it has no relevance to the subject, the actual subject they're talking about. The left set the precedent for this, and now they are butthurt because it has now come full circle and their savior is the focus of it. But big ups to Palmetto State Armory, and I hope they sell a ton of them. I really do. And they're, hey, good for them. They took a marketing scheme, they went with it, and I hope they do well with it. I wish I could have one, but because I live in a state that passes laws based on emotion and not the facts of a matter, which completely misaligned with common sense, that unfortunately, that won't happen. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments, thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Once again, any calls to violence or statements of violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way you will get notice when the next video goes live. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.